Hi, my name is Isaac Gagné. I'm the author of Chapter 7, Advertising the Games. Tokyo 2020 is the most expensive in history, and even more expensive with the postponement. It also boasts the most corporate sponsors, 80 including official supporters as of May 2020, and the most sponsorship-based revenue in history. My chapter traces the rise of the Olympics as a multi-billion-dollar sports marketing mega event, with a focus on the involvement of Dentsu, the Japanese advertising giant that is a global leader in sports marketing, as well as the largest advertising company in Japan. Based on an interview with Ebizuka Osamu, a sports marketing expert and author who pioneered Dentsu's involvement in global sports, the chapter discusses how the Olympics went from being seen as a minor money-losing PR activity among Japanese companies to a major sponsorship opportunity, as well as how Dentsu was able to play both sides as the official promoter for the Japanese Olympic Committee, as well as the official advertising agency for most of Japan's major corporations, using the slogan of All Japan to encourage an unprecedented number of rival companies to come together as Olympic sponsors. This chapter reveals the dynamics of corporate sponsorship in Japan and the ways that companies can be simultaneously competitive and cooperative when faced with national economic projects like the Olympics. The chapter also highlights the unrivaled power of Dentsu in being able to convince companies to come on board with the Olympics and to convince them to lay down their rivalry with other companies to do so. While I do not touch on the various rumors and allegations about Dentsu's relationship to Olympic scandals, the chapter does touch on the negative side of the All Japan slogan that Dentsu is tasked with using to recruit sponsors. I discuss how the All Japan slogan pressured companies by implying that if you are not on board with the Olympics as part of All Japan, then you were against Japan, thereby applying passive-aggressive pressure on companies to join the sponsorship bandwagon. Such subtle uses of pressure and persuasion are particularly strong in the Japanese corporate world. If you're interested in issues of sports marketing, the history of Olympic corporate sponsorship, or how Dentsu became involved in the multi-billion-dollar world of global sports mega events, this chapter will be of interest to you. The effects of postponement are not yet known, of course, but rumors suggest that the delay will be extremely costly for Dentsu. Dentsu expected roughly $2 million in revenue from Tokyo 2020 alone, but unexpected costs incurred by the postponement or potential cancellation will likely be huge. And estimates for the entire cost of postponement suggest between $2 to $6 billion. For sponsors as well, it is unclear what this will cost. The IOC confirmed that the contracts for the worldwide Olympic partners known as TOP that were due to expire in 2020, such as for GE and P&G, will be extended for another year. A report by Bloomberg News just after the postponement was announced in March 24 suggested that some companies see it as a chance to actually recoup losses from this year's global lockdown. The global lockdown meant that advertising could not translate into in-store sales, but with the expectation that the situation will be improved in a year's time, they hope that Olympic-related advertising will translate into more sales in 2021. However, local corporate sponsors will have to figure out whether and how to cover sponsorship fees for another year, as sponsorship contracts are due to expire in December 2020. A June NHK poll found that 12% of local sponsors polled said that they had decided to extend their sponsorship, while 65% had not yet decided. Of those who said they would extend their contract, some mentioned that it was their duty to continue to support the Games, with others saying that they hoped to contribute to creating a joyful Olympics for all involved, or that they hoped to offer their services to athletes who are in their best condition. 68% of responding companies noted significant negative impact as a result of the pandemic. When asked if they would be willing to renew sponsorships if there were additional charges for extending the contracts, 14% responded either that they would not be able to pay additional sponsorship costs or that it would depend on the amount. Respondents also noted that they were unable to effectively use their marketing rights due to the pandemic, and that since the postponement was a result of external factors, they should not be expected to simply shoulder another year of sponsorship costs. Some respondents added that from an industry perspective, holding the Games without spectators would be essentially the same as canceling them altogether. Professor Yoshihiro Oishi of Meiji University suggests that the companies which have committed to extending their sponsorship may benefit from a positive boost to their public image, as being seen for being committed to supporting the Games despite their difficult financial situation. On the other hand, those who are non-committal may suffer a negative blow to their image for appearing to be merely making a selfish economic decision based on risks versus potential returns. So companies will be watched closely and will be watching each other closely in the coming months.